Hello, YouTube. I'm going to be doing a rant of the best NBA player throughout history. And it's not who you're thinking, it's actually going to be Wilt Chamberlain. Reason being is why he's the best player throughout history. He came early. He's one of the old school players of Yu-Gi-Oh! He's the old school players of basketball. Just the fact that he's 7'2", he's a center, and he's an outstanding player. He first played for the Harlem Globetrotters, and eventually he played one of the really good teams, like you guys are well aware of, the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, including the Philadelphia 76ers. Like he's not many people remember him because of how long ago the NBA was when it was first new, when basketball became a thing in the early days. Why he's a great player? Because he's also the first player to score 100 points and to have a career where he averaged 50 rebounds, simply because his height played a factor throughout the NBA, and being a center made a huge difference. Not only that, he was long. Like, I don't know about now, but it's like probably in this generation maybe things will be different with how the 3-point game has evolved in the NBA, and maybe he wasn't the better shooter. Who knows? Like, maybe with this generation, like, it'll probably put a lot more challenge with him right now. If he was currently if he was at his age, at his when he was younger, maybe during his time, if he were to play right now with modern basketball in the NBA, chances are maybe things will be challenging for him. But then it will kind of factor in as how now is different compared to back then, because back then it was like, yeah, all he cared about was scoring as many points. Although the problem is the three was not as heavily reliable at the time, because it was either obviously because the distance was way too far. People haven't really figured out how to score that many 3-pointers, when to shoot from that distance, or whether it was necessary. It wasn't necessary. So it was more about playing old school. And of course, don't forget about the shorts. So, I would say, yeah, Michael Jordan inspired people. Like, the difference between him, Wilt Chamberlain, and Michael Jordan is that, like, I would say Michael Jordan played far more games and was very consistent, because Michael Jordan, like, some people might not believe, but throughout every season he scored 20 or more points every single season throughout his entire career. That's considered a legend. Like, he deserves his name on the Hall of Fame just as much Will Chamberlain does. So the reason why I talk about it, because like, I'm just wondering how he would match up in the NBA, the modern NBA right now, in today's NBA games. Like, because if you think about it, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they're very similar. Like, I feel like if Giannis had the same motivation Will Chamberlain, or if maybe players were not as aggressive, he could have been just like him. They could have had a similar role, especially playing with the Milwaukee Bucks. He could have made the Bucks a very terrifying team. But it's like because they're kind of similar, but it's like now the NBA is more like you have to improve everything. It's not just scoring in close. Like, you have to work on your shooting, your rebounding, passing, dribbling, and Giannis was able to accomplish that. While Will Chamberlain probably wasn't able to do most of those, inherit most of the skills, because the NBA was still new at the time. So if he reminds me, if you think about, he's like the Hashirama of Naruto, the first Hokage in the Leaf Village, because he played during the beginning of the NBA at the start, when it was still young. It was still developing. So not only was the game developing, the players had to develop, but like at the same time they were still pretty slow, because they didn't have the same momentum like they have right now. So, and I still personally I believe he's the best player, because Kobe Bryant scored 81 points against the Raptors, but 100 points, like, so far Will Chamberlain was the only one to score 100 points. Like, and the fact that like I mentioned, he's averaged 50 points in his career. Like, just imagine, like, he could have been scoring. That means he's been scoring almost half 100 points a game throughout most of his games. That's like something not many players can do. Like unless you're a ball hog or unless you're Shaquille O'Neal, like you just keep wanting to go in the post and just score as many points as possible, which is actually the smart decision if you think about it now. Because how did Shaq when he become a MVP 3 times? Like he knew how to play his role as a center, just like Will Chamberlain did. But Will Chamberlain was way better than Shaq. Um, and like I said, like I don't know, in this generation, I don't think we're gonna have another player similar to Will Chamberlain because how much the game has evolved. It's gonna be a lot more challenging. They have to figure out more methods. They got to figure out more strategies. They got to implement ideas. So there's a lot that has to come between having that kind of skill level, because that's like an overall 99 if you think about it. Everyone like the way he's playing is very similar to how the game players develop their NBA 2K players for a career mode, and they're like overall 99, and they're just scoring more than dozens of points, 40, 30, 50 a game, and they have those stats. And that's why it's like with him, it's like playing my career mode. Like that's what players expect when you're playing my career mode, to always have those kind of stats. And that's for them, he pretty much accomplished that. That's the thing with Will Chamberlain. He pretty much accomplished like his career in the NBA by simply playing the way how 2K would. Like if you were playing my career mode, seriously. And he, in a way, I say he inspired me, but although I don't know too much about him, like although I never see myself as somebody, I feel like he gave me a reason why I should like basketball, like, and it's to figure out and implement ideas, figure out what's your strength in the game, try to develop it, try to work on it, and maybe come up with ideas, come up with some other techniques that could evolve, that could be something that no one else could ever develop, could ever create. Because the whole point of the NBA is that, like, I would say I'm never gonna make it, but like they want to find new players that have that same potential, that have really high potential. They have a good all around high game, and they have to be real. Obviously, they have to be tall, but it's hard to find players these days because with how the NBA is, like, it's I don't know if at this point, like in the NBA, that if the game where players are gonna stop developing because they have full potential from the beginning, and then to later they have like an NBA like All Star career, but it's like I don't after once during their All Star career, like while they may play consistently, there are times they won't, but like I don't know if any player can score amongst Will Chamberlain, can like be able to have the same type of career that he had, or the season where players eventually will have to like prove themselves that they're better than most. But to be honest, Will Chamberlain is the only one who's done that. Like, although he may have not played that many games, but I'm trying to find out if someone can prove me wrong right now. I want to know if there's anyone that could go beyond Will Chamberlain and score as many points he did in this season. So that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Comment, like, subscribe, and then maybe I'll eventually in the future I'll try and make more content.